Hi, this is Monica from Move Michigan Realty. So I'm going to go through 7 easy steps to home ownership. These are giant steps throughout the process. There's a lot of little steps here. So number one is you want to find a realtor and you want to get educated on the entire real estate process ahead of time. So if you're saying, I don't know if I want to hire a realtor, I don't know if I can afford a realtor, maybe I don't need a realtor. Well, maybe you don't. Uh, you can go directly to the agent who has the house listed, and you'll be negotiating on your own. You'll have to, figure out how to do the whole process on your own. Can you do it? Yeah, you could do it. Every day people learn to be realtors. So, this isn't rocket science, but there's a steep learning curve. So, I mean, I I work with a lot of very smart people around Detroit. A lot of engineers. The auto companies are here, so there's a lot of smart people around Detroit. Half the people that I work with, honestly, I would trust them to do transactions for me. Um, they don't do this every day like I do, but these are smart people who, if they don't know the answer, they can figure it out. And really, that's a lot of this job is solving problems and overcoming obstacles and not getting completely frazzled. So if you're new, if you're a first time home buyer, you probably need a realtor. If you can't afford a realtor, I would say still talk to some realtors because there might be someone in their office that is learning and they are mentoring who would work for an amount that would be comfortable to you, and they would still have the guidance of an experienced realtor. Don't let affordability of a realtor get in the way of you buying a house. So number two, you want to connect with a mortgage lender. So unless you have cash and you need a bank's money, unless you got Uncle Louie going to give you 300 grand, you need to talk to a mortgage lender. And don't just go online and get a pre-approval with your phone. Don't do that. You talk to a mortgage lender because the phone apps, they're going to spit out the pre-approval for you. Maybe you have great credit. That's going to be easy. Those are software systems. So there's no little person behind there. So if you have any kind of snag in your transaction, there's no one to talk to. There's no one to help. And it's not automated, at least not yet. So you need a person. You need a person who is going to help your transaction close. So if you don't have a relationship, say with a credit union, maybe your parents have a long-standing relationship with the bank where, they've done a lot of transactions and, that can get you in there with a really good rate and an affordable mortgage. Maybe they can even co-sign for you if you need it. So it's okay to use a mortgage lender that you pick. You don't have to go with what the realtor says. Now, I love it when people go, tell me what lender, because then I can match them with the lender that will do the best job for them and that will be the best match. But I can work with anybody. It's not a problem at all. So if a realtor gets bent out of shape because you're not using the mortgage lender that they want you to, that's kind of a red flag. So number three, you need to find a house that measures up and is in your budget. Budget is number two. I know it feels like it should be number one. And a lot of, especially new home buyers, first time home buyers, all they think about is the price. So they will shop in 100-mile radius of their job and they'll only look at price. Well, you got to look at where you want to live because I can tell you that first time home buyers will find a house at the price that they want and they will buy it, and it's 92 miles from work, and in the dead of January they can't get to work. and then that becomes a problem. Or they're just not that person who sits in the car for an hour and a half and is comfortable listening to audiobooks, and that's their unwind time to go home. There are some people like that, but most people aren't. Most people want to live 15-30 minutes from work. So if that's you have specific criteria for where you want to live. I mean, maybe you could be flexible with the type of house. Maybe it could be a ranch, or it could be a 2-story. That's great. That's great. That helps with budget. You're flexible. But figure out where you want to live. I mean, even the county or two that works good for you. Like if you're looking in a 10 county radius, you got to narrow it down. That's not going to be good. You got to narrow it down. Okay, so number 4, you want to craft a winning offer and read everything you sign. I'm dead serious about this. You're going to get things to e-sign when you hire a realtor. They're going to want you to come to terms with them on a contract of how they're going to get paid. You need to read that. When somebody says to you, we're going to do an offer for this and blah, 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 and that, these offers are on boilerplate forms, meaning that the forms are generally very similar. They might be a little bit different from brokerage to brokerage or realtor association to realtor association, but for the most part, the forms are the same. They have portions in the form that you fill out. So it's not very complicated to read it. Most of the forms, when you read them, they're in plain English. Read it slow. You have to understand the offer that you're making. Don't count on your realtor to tell you everything that's in that offer. You may think something is a way that it's not. So for instance, you might think that you're going to get keys at closing, and the offer that you're actually making says you're going to give a seller a month to move out after you own the house. So that just may be something that was a condition of the listing that you missed, didn't hear, or your realtor maybe neglected to tell you that because it was obvious in the listing. So you read everything before you sign it. And if you don't understand it, you're not going to get a satisfactory answer from your realtor. You can call an attorney. You can pay an attorney to review your purchase offer before you sign it. I mean, that extra time might cost you that house, but this is your transaction, is what I'm saying. This is your transaction. So if you're not comfortable, you got to get comfortable, because if you sign this and the seller signs it, you have a contract. You have a legal contract. So number 5, once you get a house under contract, now you're going to do your due diligence. And what that means is you need to make sure that this house is in the condition that you think it is, or that you are going to accept it in. So maybe that there's some improvements that need to be made. It got carpet from 1978. Maybe the outside needs to be painted or whatever. You need to, first of all, make sure that any condition issues are going to be acceptable by the bank. For instance, if you're doing an FHA and there's a bunch of peel and paint on that house, it's not going to pass. So that's something at the start when you're talking to a mortgage lender and you find out the kind of loan that you're going to use. You need to find out what's all involved in that. What do I need to make sure this house has, or the condition it needs to be in? So the due diligence is the buyer's due diligence. So what I mean by that is it's not the responsibility of your realtor or your inspector to make sure that this is a good house for you. It's you. It's you. It's all on you. You have to pay these people to help you. You have to pay professionals to help you. But an inspector, by and large, will not say to you, this is a good house, you should buy it, or this is a bad house, you shouldn't buy it. They should tell you their opinion of the condition. If they find something major that can be repaired, that you're okay with it being repaired, maybe you want to go back to the seller and renegotiate. So you definitely need an inspector. Can you do it yourself? You can. I wouldn't. I don't. I would hire an inspector. So number 6, so once the inspection's over, you're happy with the inspection, you're moving on, now you're getting your money. So take ownership of your mortgage process. This is your mortgage. This is your transaction. So if you're waiting for somebody to call you up and say, hey, we need this, or you need to do this next, you get on the phone. You call that lender and you say, I'm done with my inspection. What's next? You got everything you need? Because I want my money. I want to buy my house right now. So you're the driving force here. I mean, as a realtor, we do keep pushing a transaction forward, but without the buyer involved in that, we can't make it happen. So we can't get paperwork to your lender for you. So you have to be part of the driving force that gets this thing to the closing table. So number 7, you're going to close your transaction. You're going to do a final walkthrough as part of your transaction, which is really important because you want to make sure that that house is in the same condition it was when you inspected it. And once you close, maybe you get keys at closing, maybe you don't. So you may be still working with your realtor after the close in order for them to help facilitate the key exchange as the seller moves out. So the closing seems like it's really, hey, I got my money, let's close. It's actually a pretty big step. There's a lot involved. I mean, you got to change your locks. You got to get all your utilities switched over. Even the house, when the deed gets recorded, you have to have the transfer forms into the township or the city. There's just a lot more involved with the closing than running around waving keys in the air. Okay, so congratulations, you bought a home. That was it. That's 7 steps. It sounds easy, and it really is easy. It's complicated easy, though. You just take it one step at a time. You could do this. Anybody can do this. If you are someone who's employed, you can show that you have income and you're paying a good amount for rent. Look at the houses. Look at the houses online in the area that you want to purchase. Look at what's sold. Look at what amount it takes to buy a house that you want. So just, you can figure it out. It's not hard. You can figure it out. Okay, so maybe it's 400,000. Figure out. Do a mortgage calculator. Figure, all the mortgage calculators online, you'll see they'll show the payment. That's generally based on a 20% down. You don't need 20% down. I mean, there are programs still with 0 down. You can get a seller to help you with closing costs. If you think you can't buy a house and you are fully employed, you've been at your job a couple years, you have good income, you're affording rent, you have some down payment, maybe you have a $5,000, that might be enough. Don't let your idea that you can't be a homeowner get in your way, because houses are not getting cheaper. Everybody thinks they are, but they're not. There's not enough houses. So when there's not enough of something, the price doesn't go down. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for watching another Realty Reel from Monica at Move Michigan Realty. So you can find us at moveMIRealty.com.